The terrifying freedom of not knowing. Terrifying freedom of not knowing. I think of the cliched first world problem when I say that, because I'm always very aware with the things that I wrangle and the things I've been dealing with for a while emotionally, that the only reason I can do that is because I'm so privileged, right? I live in a fantastic society. I'm Caucasian. I have a traditional family structure. I was responsible for creating a business with Andy that allowed me this experimental time. But it is something to say the terrifying unknown when people are dealing with real life-threatening terrors, right? But it's true. Like Brené Brown would say, you don't have to dismiss your own pain or vulnerability because someone's got it worse. And I think there's an opportunity, if we do have the advantage of space and time, to investigate how to be the best version of ourselves and the least negatively impactful on others and all of those things. So it has been at times terrifying, this unknown period that I've been in, particularly for my ego, which has been so committed to recognition and success. One of the worst things that ever happened in recent years was when I realised that I'd been saying to myself, one day you'll be famous. I just had this line, one day I'll be famous, one day I'll be famous. And what I didn't realise was it was an ego structure to not have me worry too much that might not be the case. And the very way I thought I needed recognition might not come about. And since I realised it might not come about, like it's highly likely that won't come about, that has both opened amazing opportunities, but also opened a world of pain of, well, if not that, how do I get my worth? And so for those of you who've been following me here for a while, you will have heard me stumble along on this journey, right? And in one of my other episodes recently, I talked about having some freedom around a time of transition and allowing yourself to have that if you do have the space to do it. And this is kind of the next level of that in terms of, yes, can you create that space? Do you have the opportunity to create that space? But for me, the difficulty of being with unknowing. I thought I was a faithful person. I thought I was a trusting person. But that has been challenged over and over again in this period of time. I want certainty. I want a plan. I want to know what I want to be doing. And actually, when I realised recently, the whole goal of this whole time has actually to be able to find peace and self-love rather than what I thought I was searching for, which was external validation, which I still want. I won't want to lie about it, but it's not actually the point because I understand the trick of that. There will never be enough external love. There will never be enough followers. There will never be enough recognition to fill the hole unless I fill it myself. So I've realised this has to be the mission. I have to figure out how to keep coming back to me, how to find peace in myself, self-love in myself, a home in myself, and then come out from that. So there's two things happening at once. One, this realisation, this is actually what I want and this is what I'm striving for. And I think it's a fantastic goal to have my life feel both the most joyful but also the most generous. On the other side of that is someone that's high energy, wants to make an impact, wants to do things right, wants to do things useful. And I don't know what I'm meant to be doing because there isn't this clear plan, because as I figure out the peace, self-love story, the things I would do to get reassurance or validation or whatever aren't as much of a match. So I keep experimenting with different things and I basically just do the thing in front of me that feels like the right thing to do, having no idea if it's heading me in the right direction, right? So I'll have the thought, I think I should interview this person, so I do. Or I think I should contact this person, so I do. Or I think I should talk about this topic on the podcast, so I do. And like the old name, 50-50, I'm 51% trusting, so I do it, and I'm 49% not. So I suffer with, was that the right thing to do? Where the hell am I going? I read a thing recently and it said like being on a bridge, walking into the fog and still walking into the fog, right? Or as I would call it, I've spent a hell of a long time on the bridge of cringe, right? Going, what the hell am I doing? And keep taking actions Of course, I tend to talk about the problem here more than the solution. And what's been happening in amongst this whole time is a lot of breakthroughs, a lot of joy, a lot of greater feeling of satisfaction and real love and real presence, and enjoying my family more and my life more and being able to be in my life more. So it's not all a sad tale, but it's been a tough tale, right? And those of you who know me know that. I also think I'm the only one doing it, which I realise is crazy. I'm just the only one talking about it publicly. It felt like the right thing to do. It obviously still does because I'm still doing it. But bloody hell, what a decision. Try and figure shit out and then share it. And then maybe hear a little bit back about what people thought about it. But not a lot, right? Like the other day I thought, why don't I hear back more whether it's working or not? And I thought, well, it's the perfect lesson. If you want to figure out self-love and self-peace and you want to get over external validation, then you are creating the very thing and the world is helping you, right? That's actually a good tie into context, because for me, context is everything. Landmark used to say the context is decisive. So what I mean by that, I can have a context running, which I do often, around what am I doing? Am I getting it right? How will I be successful? What's the right thing to do? What will make me the best person? Blah, blah, blah. God, it's exhausting. That's one context, and it doesn't work very well because I suffer, I'm not creative, I spend time in my hobby, worry hobby, and it's not a great approach. The other context which I can make up, and you can make up whatever you want, may as well make up something good because you're making it up anyway. That's a great trick in life when we think we're not making it up, is to think, okay, well, this is a time of experimentation, or this is a time of learning, or this is a time of creating something really different. And as I say that, I really feel the joy of not having to come from not good enough, not having to come from proving, not having to come from what's the next thing that'll make me feel satisfied in me selfishly, and come from what do I want to do? What's a good contribution? What makes the best difference to me firstly and then to others? Lockie has helped me a lot with the idea of self-love, and I know for a lot of us, particularly those of you like me who are brought up Catholic, it can feel very selfish to have yourself as number one. But he was fantastic in helping me realise that if you don't do that first, you can't be pure with other people. There's always an agenda. See, if I love me first, then what I say to you, what I say to Dan here, what I say to my family, it's not coming from I want something back, right? Or I'm saying this because if I say this right, you'll give me the love. If I'm secure and if I'm self-loving, then I can be much more generous, and I'm not drawing from the cliched empty tank. Anyway, just a little bit more on doing stuff before you're ready. So it is, I believe, absolutely true that if you want anything to happen, you have to take the risk of taking steps before you're completely ready. Now, there are different personalities to me, and they can absolutely do more planning than I would. But if I was going to plan out the last couple of years, pretty much nothing would have happened because there was never a clear plan. I never knew really what I was doing. I just did one thing after another. And I have some very successful friends who have had the recognition I've so longed for. They've done the same thing. They've taken the one step after the other, been brave, and had some fantastic results. You may have seen interviews I've had here with Jess Burville from Daily Serve of Nutrition. Incredibly successful, but same thing, courage and bravery and one step after the other. And not unlike myself, her mission was to make a difference to people's nutrition. She's lived by that and it's worked. Alvin, who I've had here, so many successes, such a genius. And again, having to deal with discomfort, uncertainty, and taking one step after the other. Like I was joking about, but it's true. It's all happening for so many people, but I'm just talking about it here for whatever reason. And of course, hoping that it's useful. But even if it's not, right, doing my best. So if peace is the path, and that's what I'm trying to learn, I have to keep being brave, keep being trusting, not knowing the path, the plan, the promise that I'm often desperate for, and sometimes I'm okay with not having, and just keep taking what is the next step that feels right to take, living as much as I can in the moment and going, what do I want to do next? What feels right next? More from my heart than from my ego or worry. I've had Stephen Bodie in here and talking about his amazing book, Infinite Awakening. And in the early part of that, he talks about in his life, he just took the next step that felt right to him and he trusted that. I always thought I was a trusting person, but I'm really having to learn it. Learn it over and over. Trust, trust, trust. You're supported. All is well. This has been a big week, so I'm sort of feeling it a bit more. There was a couple of things that I wanted to say to end. I want to repeat the thing I said about what's the context. So if you can take on, as I'm trying to, a more playful idea around what's next, a less heavy, less serious, less got to get it right, more experimental idea, that can be much more fun. And I want to end with my favourite fellow, the whole reason I started the podcast. I'm no closer to having him here, but the dream hasn't died, Hugh Laurie. And this quote of his that's one of my favourites. This is what he says. You can imagine his accent. I won't try it. It's a terrible thing, I think, in life to wait until you're ready. I have this feeling now, and remember how successful he is, that actually no one is ever ready to do anything. There's almost no such thing as ready. There's only now, and you may as well do it now. Generally speaking, now is as good a time as any. So that's a good takeaway. Now is as good a time as any. What's one small thing you want to do that you really want to do, but you've been scared to start? Maybe take one step. And look at me. I'm surviving. It's not easy, but it's fun and it's worth it. And every day gets better. Do yourself a favour.